you made your films, your cinema, with cinema. I mean, with what you know, what you have seen when you were young. I don't know when. So maybe it's too simple and too generically, but I'd like to ask you, what is for you cinema? Because you, from I don't know, Jack Hill to Jean Renoir or any others, there is a big, a big arc, you know, of.
Well, my feeling is, there is no such thing as high cinema and low cinema. There's just cinema, and there's good cinema, and there's bad cinema, and it's just what you respond to. But if you do respond to an artist's work, or you do respond to a piece in particular, well then, at the end of the day, Jack Hill, Jean Renoir, there's no difference. No, actually, there's a gigantic difference between the two of them, and being able to articulate the difference and articulate the pleasures, is part of getting to understand cinema, is part of appreciating it. But as far as just when it comes to good cinema, it's you can both. There's not a dichotomy there. You can expect them both, and I expect things from Jean Renoir that I don't expect from Jack Hill, and I expect things from Jack Hill that I don't expect from Jean Renoir.
And this for you makes like a relation with the pleasure more than the others? Kind of.
Well, cinema is my number one art form, so I don't have to try, for that. But I've just always combated my whole life the concept of snobbery towards cinema. I believe you should be embracing of all types of cinema. You don't have to embrace every movie made. And actually knowing what you don't like is as important as knowing what you do. But I don't believe in the class system when it comes to movies, or even when it comes to directors. Now, truthfully, when it comes to some of the more exploitation movies that I like, there is I tend to have a forgiving nature about the things in it that might be cheesy, or the things in it that might not work, or whatever. But the same thing about some of the greatest directors ever made, whose a lot of their work has dated. I forgive that too, and it's not even a forgiveness. It's just I kind of even like it for that. That is what it is. But to me, it's more about the pleasures, adoring the pleasures, than criticizing or holding against it the deficiencies.
What I find out in your cinema is that more than pleasure, it's really something like a glorious joy. It's joyful to be cinema. In one sense, it seems to me that you are the only one recent, but the only one director, actually. Mm-hmm. In one sense, the only one director, living director, who automatically making movies center cinema. You touch cinema in one sense as a separate world, but the world, all the world. There's no high, no middle, no, because like Wittgenstein said about images. Every is a stone is much nearer to a flower or to a man than to the image, than to the thing that you see in the image. Not to the rose, but to another image, and that's so clear in your cinema. I think that you are, in one sense, speaking cinema, and it's very mysterious. What I ask you is if that is only linked with your biography, where you're living with cinema and then working with cinema. I can't think that is only that, because you, like in this movie, is really you're so free, jumping after the first part. In one sense, you can see that you left something, but this is incredible free because all is in the same space. It doesn't matter that this is before or later. Well, that's.
I mean, you're right. I mean, the thing is, I mean, look, cinema is my life, and I've dedicated my life to it. Now, obviously, it is not the only thing. You know, I love music, I love literature, I love all kinds of things. But, and then most of those things that I love find their way into my cinema, one degree or another. You know, I mean, in this, you know, as much as I love cinema, I tend to approach it as far as my story structures are concerned from a novelistic place with the course of the chapters and not necessarily telling even a linear story. But then it's like you know, but at the same time, whenever I've read books and they've done structures like that I've liked, I've always thought about how cinematic it is if somebody were to do that. But, you know, there is you know, but I have dedicated my life to it, you know, one, watching movies, and now it's, you know, it's like even more of a study. I mean, it's strange because there's an aspect that I am a bit of a frustrated academic because I actually quit school very, very young, and only to realize as time has gone on that I actually probably would have liked college. I would have liked it quite a bit. And there is this aspect that I'm in a constant, it's not just good enough to watch cinema. And it's not just good enough to talk to my friends about it. I like to just keep putting myself, I like to just keep learning about it, giving myself over to it. It's like I'm studying for a self-made scholar on it. And I'm going for my professorship in world cinema. And I almost never want to graduate. In fact, the day I graduate is the day I die. And I'm not doing it for anything other than my own edification. Just like, for instance, you know, this is something I do all the time, is I'll write cinema pieces or I'll write reviews. And I'm not really in any hurry to publish them. Maybe at a certain point when I have enough, I might put a book out, or maybe I won't, who knows. But I do that to write my thoughts down so it's not just like, it's easy to just watch a movie and then you go away and then, you know, you forgot about the movie. But as I see something that makes me think about it, then I write it down and then I never forget it. And I'm struggling trying to articulate myself about what it is I like and what it is I don't like. And I make notes, and I make notes just like a scholar would. And then I just put those files away to take them out later to look at them. To give another example of this scholarship is, you know, about 3 months ago, I had a book that I bought, I don't know, 5 years ago, but I've never read. And it was a book on the work of a female director, Dorothy Arzner. You know, who was one of the only female directors working in Hollywood in the 20s and 30s. And I've never really seen any of Dorothy Arzner's work. You know, so, but I, you know, was interested in that book, so I bought it. And, you know, I didn't read it for 5 years. I took it off the shelf, read it, got very fascinated with her, and then set out to start seeing some of the movies. And I saw about, you know, 4 or 5 of them. And then I started making notes on them, and making notes. And then I put it away. All right, and then I moved on, and it was just now it's something. Now I can talk about Dorothy Arzner, and now I have a sense about it, and I put pen to paper to actually really deal with some of my feelings about what I came across, and you know, and I learned things, and now boom, I have that. Now that's in my head, and it's in my canon, and then, you know, somebody else, and I'm always doing that. I'm always getting into a kick, either a kick on an actor, a kick on a director, a kick on a type of movie, and then I just kind of voraciously, you know, search it out and devour it, and then boom, then I'm done, and then I move on.